The first part of Domain 4, Section 4.1 covers security techniques. So what is this about? This is given a scenario, apply common security techniques to computing resources. So that's what we're going to cover, and we start with secure baselines. What is a baseline? A baseline is a predefined configuration of a system. So imagine you're building an apartment complex, for example, and you tell the contractor you want every bedroom to have minimum configurations of at least 6 feet windows, 12 feet wide, and whatever configurations you suggest, but you want that on every bedroom everywhere. That's your baseline, for example. It's quite similar in tech, where you can require a minimum of Windows 11 operating systems on every computer in the office, Debian servers for every server, Cisco firewalls for every firewall. So it's like a benchmark for security settings, the minimum that should be maintained. And for that to be effective, first you have to create a set of configurations so that it's consistent along the entire organization. You have to deploy that, so you implement the baselines across the organization for it to be effective. And you have to regularly update and audit the baselines to make sure that it is followed. So that's a baseline, a secure, predefined configuration that is followed along the entire organization. Now, hardening targets, what is this about? This is implementing measures to strengthen the security of a security system. So you are hardening the security system. You're making it harder to break through. What are the targets, and how can we harden or protect them? You have mobile devices, and how can you harden or protect them? With device encryption, with strong passwords, managing mobile devices. It's just like, imagine hardening targets like fortifying a castle to protect it from invaders. What will you do? You will reinforce the walls, you will add a moat, you will ensure all gates are secured. So similarly, hardening involves security, reinforcing security to protect systems. You have your workstations, disable unnecessary services, you enable firewalls and antiviruses. What are some other targets? Switches and routers. You disable unused ports. You implement VLANs, remember, virtual local area networks. You will change the default credentials and you enable encryption. Other targets, you have the cloud. For cloud, you apply security groups, which are firewalls within the cloud. You make sure you're constantly logging and monitoring who is getting in and getting out. You secure your servers with intrusion prevention and detection systems to know when systems are being intruded. You make sure you patch regularly, make sure you constantly update, fix bugs, have secure configurations. Industrial control systems, what do? You isolate them from the corporate network. You create air gaps so that it's on a separate private network. You use firewalls and VPNs so that whoever accesses that, first is authorized and secondly is on a private connection. And you implement strict access controls. Not everyone should have access to industrial control systems, because these are systems that control power grids, that control traffic light systems, that control conveyor belts at airports and more. So you want to make sure that they're secure. Embedded systems, which are systems that are within other systems, you want to protect them, ensure secure updates. Real-time operating systems, these are operating systems that are time sensitive, and you want to make sure that they're working on secure communication channels. For example, in a self-driving car, the brakes, they use a real-time operating system such that when they detect a car in front of them, they automatically brake. So you want it to be on a secure communication channel. Not everyone should have access to that. You patch and you limit access to critical functions. And Internet of Things, IoT devices. Internet of Things, what do? You change the default passwords. For example, the thermostat that you have at home that is connected to the internet, or the fridge, or all those everyday devices that are connected to the internet. Make sure you change default passwords. Make sure you disable some features and use network segmentation. Now, before installing a wireless network, you need to perform the site survey. Site survey, you work around existing frequencies, you place your router to minimize frequencies, interference, sorry, and you plan for change. So you want to make sure that there is no interference. For example, if someone is designing their wireless network and they want to ensure that the design places access points or routers in areas where they will provide the best coverage, then what do? First, you perform a site survey to see where there will be the best coverage for the access point. It can be a router or a switch. And you can also use heat maps. Heat maps are used to identify wireless signal strength, and it shows where the largest signals are. So when you have a heat map, you will know where will be the ideal place to install your devices, your routers, your switches, and it will tell you where the best signal is, as you can see on the diagram there.
All right, guys, so this concludes our course for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms, which includes YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And we have awesome Amazon flashcards for just $15 to help you study.